Now, this will contain some spoilers because it's just not fun talking about a film if I can't talk about what's actually, in the film. And I'm going to assume you've watched it by now. If you haven't, go watch it. Or not, it's up to you, isn't it, really? Anyway, Glass Onion, A Knives Out Mystery is the sequel to the murder mystery film Knives Out from 2019, which was actually one of my favourite movies from that year, and honestly, probably one of my favourite mystery, crime-solving movies, period. Rian Johnson brought something original and humorous to the mystery genre, and the movie had a great cast, and it always kept me guessing for, the next reveal. Also, I don't swing that way, but Chris Evans. God damn. Anyway, the sequel stars James Bond, the girl from Outer Banks that fucking every guy's thirsting over, Drax, Agatha Harkness, Beta Bruce Banner, fuck me, Jesus Christ. Might as well set this in the MCU at this point, man. Anyway, Daniel Craig and his saucy Kentucky-style accent return for this one, and we're introduced to a new group of people who every year get invited to the private island of the billionaire Miles Bron, who this time around wants to present the group with a murder mystery weekend. Now, this movie was distributed by Netflix instead of Lionsgate, which honestly brought me my concerns. Studios like Netflix and Disney have taken, a very clear shift in what messages they include in their films and who they're actually making their movies for, like who their target audience is. By the way, that's code for me saying they've gone woke, and in most cases they care more about making money than producing a good story, especially in franchises. And, whether you like it or not, this is where films are going. To be fair, after the first 30 minutes or so, the film does pick up, and I started to get way more invested into the story. But throughout the film, although it's not as obvious or distracting as other projects I've seen, there's definitely a lot of clear references and humour made towards men, talking about like men's issues and masculinity. Like at the start, Duke is on a stream talking about like men in the workplace, but he's a Twitch streamer and he lives with his mom. And at one point, Miles makes a speech which is deemed red pill. There's a lot of references to this kind of manosphere stuff, which honestly took me out of the film. Like, I get it. Can I just enjoy the film, Anyway, apart from this, honestly, the movie was great. Each character had their layers, and no one felt like they were just a filler. And since everyone who was invited to the island basically relies on Miles for their status and income, whenever Miles does or says something that the others disagree with, they can't do shit because he can destroy their reputation if they do so. So Miles is, pretty careless in what he says or does, especially at the end. Now, I feel like the message that this film is trying to portray is pretty clear, but honestly, the fact that Miles Bron just like perfectly encapsulates everything that Netflix and modern movie studios are, it's pretty funny, to be honest. Like, everyone on the island has to go with his word 100% of the time, because if they don't, their reputation's ruined. It's like if any actors say something or they act in a way that upsets, the studio executives or woke mobs online, they'll just drop the actor. Anyway, talking about the actual film, once everyone's on the boat, everyone can kind of sense that something is up when Miles' ex-business partner, Andy, shows up, which no one expected because Miles and Andy used to work together on this company, and he basically took the entire enterprise and just left her stranded. So her being there suggests some kind of ulterior motive than just playing along with, this murder mystery they'll solve. Detective Blanc is also not meant to be there, as everyone else has been invited like for many years previously, and obviously Detective Blanc wasn't, but due to a mystery invite, he was sent this like wooden box with this puzzle, or so we think. Here he is. So the gang arrive and relax, but soon they all want to leave after Blanc solves the mystery in like the space of about 2 minutes at the dinner table, and I think because Miles just kind of pisses everyone off with his like aura, but out of nowhere, Duke dies from being poisoned, and everyone's fucking scared shitless. No one knows who did it or why, and it's at this point a lot of the movie goes back in time to the days before the mystery weekend, and all is unraveled. Honestly, there's so many moments in this film where I was just on the edge of my seat, just waiting for more to be unveiled, and for me to be able to go like, ah, I see. I was just so impressed at the storytelling, to be honest. Like when you find out Andy has a twin sister, Helen, who's actually imposing as her, but obviously like just minutes earlier she got shot dead. At first I was genuinely pissed off because Blanc had basically brought her to this island to die. Like she's dead now, but then she's not even dead, so you're just kind of like, oh, okay, I see. Got me for a second. God damn, this is fucking intense. To be fair, what's really interesting about this film is that we're not seeing it from like any one perspective. Like we're not discovering things alongside Blanc per se. We're discovering things about Blanc and like what he knows as the movie goes on. Because from the get-go we're made to believe that he genuinely doesn't know why he got the invite. Because in the last film that was the case, but this time around there's so much more that we don't know about him and his motives, until we found out that he actually pretended that he got invited to, solve this murder of the real Andy. Talking about Detective Blanc, Daniel Craig again is fantastic. Honestly, I had no clue where the movie was going to go after he decided that whole murder mystery in like 2 minutes. But I was very pleasantly surprised by how the rest of the movie played out. One of the standouts for sure was Janelle Monáe. Her character is very mysterious for the first half, but in the second half of the film, she's practically the main character, and she's given a lot of characteristics and backstory to work with, and she utilises it all brilliantly. I could talk about the rest of the characters in the cast individually, but that would take a lot of time. Just know they're all really fucking good. As the film comes to a close, we discover obviously Miles was the one who killed Andy, and he poisons Duke with fucking pineapple juice. And when Miles burns the napkin, Blanc basically says it's over, there's nothing they can do, but then Helen starts smashing everything, and I think it's made quite obvious what's going to happen next. At least for me, I kind of knew what was going to happen. I was fucking excited, bro, I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, they get this weird, like, compound they isolated from fucking, like, seawater, which is, like, renewable, good for, you know, carbon emissions, all this bullshit. Helen throws it into the fire, the house goes boom boom, the Mona Lisa gets destroyed, and then everyone can finally speak out because, you know, Miles' reputation's over. He just burnt the house, and he just burnt the fucking Mona Lisa. Though, if they're all attached to his name, doesn't that kind of negatively impact them? I don't know. Anyway, as far as sequels go, this was definitely one of the better ones, and it definitely competes with the first in terms of entertainment value. Personally, I preferred the first one, but it would not shock me if anyone prefers this one, because this one's also, as I say, very good. Honestly, it's so refreshing to see more original stories like this being put together, and not just repeated formulas. The movie is great, and like the first one, I've not really seen any other movie like it, to be honest. The characters are so well written, the plot is constantly revealing new things, so that just when you think you found a clue, or just when you think you figured something out, and that's case closed, there's more to it. I think I've made this quite obvious, but I really enjoyed this movie, and it's definitely up there with my favourite films this year. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you want, you know, check out my other videos. You know, honestly, it's up to you really, I'm not gonna force you to do anything, but you know, like, get some sunlight, man, go outside, get some fresh air, you know, stop sitting fucking on looking at a screen all day, you know, gotta look out for your health. Anyway, bye.